Hey, Solus, Agent Solo, Matt Rice here, bringing you something a little bit different this week. It's been a long time coming, and hey, I've got my new microphone now. Hopefully, things sound a lot clearer because I've had some issues with my new laptop. And a shout out, or an infamous shout out to Asus ROG Zephyrs having horrible microphones, absolutely horrible, and my camera isn't that great either. For something that's pretty expensive. Anyway, that's my rant out of the way. Let's get to the board games because what's happened the last weekend was Gen Con, or 4 days worth of Gen Con. And my feed keeps popping up. I didn't go because in Australia and busy with a newborn. And of course, I don't have the money to fly overseas. But I've kept an eye on my feeds. I've kept an eye on BGG, things like that, of the solo nature, and things that are popping up, like people that are popular to demo, things that are popular to buy and come home with. And I've picked out about roughly, well, I've picked out 20 here. I had a bit more than that, but 20 that's piqued my interest. So these are either ones that could be available soon or available now or in the near future. Let's start here with Undaunted 2200 Callisto. So this is in the Undaunted series. So I think it was reinforcements brought the solo mode into the World War II theme, and now they're going to come out with a sci-fi theme, which I think is going to be very popular. And this is my number one pick from Gen Con. Looking through so far with the people that have play tested, no one's saying solo is best, but they say it's recommended. Best is at 2 players, like a dueling game. I think that's the same as the other Undaunted series games. It's done by Osprey Games, and it's medium weight, 45 to 60 minutes. And this one here is a standalone game in the series, so you don't have to have the others. And the solo is built into this one. As it says here, 2 player, 4 player, and solid game modes. And check out Rodney Smith's Watch It Played. He talks about generally the 2 player game, but he shows a book of the scenarios, and looks like the scenario book's got at least half a dozen in there. So plenty on the. I think there's been some complaints about possibly being a bit expensive, the game. I think it's in the feed there somewhere. But if you want to have a quick look at some pictures here. So there's like mechs in the game. It's standees and tokens for units, dice combat. But yet there's cards that you play to manage your movement and different actions and skills. It's a deck, so it's kind of minor deck builder / war game. Looks interesting. It's something that I'm going to really keep my eye on. There's only a few pictures here. As we go back through, so there's the cards back there, insert in there. Now kind of reminds me of Quake for some reason. But yeah, and there's like advantage, disadvantage of where you shoot from, things like that. Anyway, that's the first one that piqued my interest for Gen Con. The second one that has is the Mandalorian Adventures. This is a 1 to 4 player. It's got best 1 to 2 at the moment. So some people are even saying it's best at 1 player, which is interesting. So this is coming more on under, I guess that's not really true solo, because I've seen the first scenario. You've got to play 2 characters. You've got to play the IG-88 or whatever it is. Can't remember. And Mandalorian himself. This is by Unexpected Games. It's based on the season 1 of the TV series. I'm not sure how many missions there are. I think it's at least 4. But it's like one of those, like Jaws of the Line, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Line, where you got the map set up for you. You play cards for certain actions here. As soon as you meet a numbered threshold, because your cards have certain numbers on them, plus abilities, which mean numbered threshold, an event comes out. So this might have like a threshold of like 5. So if you have cards here that add up to 5, or if it's more, you even get a worse event. I'm not sure what it's called, like an encounter or an event or something. It looks kind of cool. It is done. If I go back, I think the designer is, yes, Corey Kineska. I've probably butchered that name, but former FFG designer. Back in the heyday when FFG was something, something other than a card game continuer. But yeah, that's one to check out. The next one is Slay the Spire, which I've actually got in my collection, and I need to do a playthrough very soon of. It's on my table at the moment. It's getting really good ratings. People are saying best 2, and I think that's what people miss from the video game, is that you can, it is soloable, definitely true solo, but you can play cooperative. I think that's what some people are really loving about this. But as solo, you can play 1 or 2 characters if you want to. This is done by Contention Games, 6 more. Medium weight card game, pretty much the same as the video game. You work your way up. I mean, if you have ever played a roguelike before, it's basically you got a path set for you. You choose your path where you're going, and it could be an event, could be a rest, could be an enemy, could be an elite, all the way until you get to the boss. And so you pretty much level up your character until you get to the boss and take on the boss. And this is, I think there's 3 acts plus a 4th special act you can unlock in this game. I'm not sure if that's for solo. I'll just show a couple more things here, but there's the item shop. There's the miniatures, so you can play up to 4 players. And it's got like these certain actions. Go back on. Certain actions on like the enemies and stuff. This is a boss, but like it's the same as a video game where like you know ahead of time what it's about to do, and you got your deck of cards that do certain things like attack or stun or manipulate the board in some way. Yeah, I'll look forward to playing this and showing it on my channel very soon. There's plenty of other people that have already done that. I'm not the first, of course. Yeah, that's Slay the Spire. The next one, spectacular. This one's come up a few times. I've never heard of it. Combine tiles and dice to create your own spectacular animal park by Chili Fox Games. Reminds me of like Ark Nova kind of thing. So I think each player creates a park to preserve endangered and vulnerable animals. Your job is to figure out your park to optimally care for these species, welcome new animals, feed them properly, promote breeding, expand each habitat, and build watchtowers. And I think it's like dice activation to feed. You got to get the right dice color for your habitats. And things like tile placement. So it's fun to watch. It's probably not necessarily up my alley. Rado's done one 7 days ago on it. Some of you guys probably have heard of this for sure. Yeah, check that one out. Next one I got is SETI. I've talked to someone before. I think it was at the UK Games Expo, this game. I've talked about it there. It was at Gen Con. It's still not for sale. It's quite a heavy game. And it's saying best at 3, but there is a solo mode. Someone said not recommended. 2 people said recommended. So early sample size there. It's a bit can't really get like much of a correlation there, but yeah, basically you rotate the board. You got like it's based on somewhat real science, but also like talking about trying to find extraterrestrial life. You got like a rotating board in the background, so you can rotate around to see what you can see in the far out space. So you can position your satellites in certain positions to see certain things. There's card activations. Check Games Edition. I mean, they've done Lost Ruins Arnak, which I was a really big fan of, still am. That reminds me, I've got to do my top 20 of all time, don't I? As for my 1,000 subscribers, which I'm very happy for. And I really appreciate that. But I will, now that I've got my good microphone, hopefully it works. Show that off soon. Anyway, let's move on. Another one that's popped up, Heroquest. I know it says 2 to 5 players, but you can get the app. And this is probably one of this and Dark Tower, pretty much only 2 games I like to play with the app. Imperial Assault I couldn't quite get into with the app, same as Descent. But this one intrigues me. This is a new entry point for Heroquest. So I thought, okay, I don't need this. It's a cheaper entry point because it's standees and the cardboard furniture. But there's promise of a new quest book in this. So it's not the original quest, and then there's a new mini. I think it's a dragon mini instead of a gargoyle. So I'll be curious what this shows when it comes out. So new Heroquest. Windmill Valley has come up a lot, whether it's multiplayer or solo. Some people are saying it's best at solo. Two people recommend it. So it's got a good solo following at the moment. Compete to build windmills and plant tulips. Sounds nice and peaceful. Whiteboard and dice. We'll have a look at the pictures here. So yeah, you got this like mechanism here where I think it's like an engine that you build up so you can place tiles on it to get better actions in the future. Different languages, of course, and there's plenty there at Gen Con. If you read a bit of the description, what we got here. Enhance their wheels by adding enhancements to build their engine. Plant tulips in their fields will score victory points. So it's a victory point based game, so it's somewhat Euro. Get contracts for endgame scoring, visit local market. One of those sort of games. But yeah, keep an eye on that. A lot of people have been raving about that one for both solo and multiplayer. Luthier just hit crowdfunding. I'm not sure if it's finished now or not, but it had some demos going on and it was a big buzz. I was a big fan of Distilled solo mode. I think it's one of those games I'll pull out now and then. It's quite challenging. Not too much to it, but they hit the theme great on Distilled. And I think this is going to be the same with this one. They've hit the theme of like an orchestra or excuse me, like an older. I'm not sure what the area is Victorian era. I think it's after that. Um, it looks great on the table. It's massive. It looks quite a heavy game. But there's a lot of options I believe you can do in this game. There's some nice looking components. You purchase. I think you purchase like people for the orchestra. You also have certain people that manage it. I don't know the ins and outs fully. I just remember seeing it at crowdfunding. It looked like a game that if you're into these kind of Euros or into this musical theme, looked like something you had to get. It looks great. Yeah, and like the Patterson Games guys did really well to steal the really communicative. Patterson Games. Yeah, so check that one out. It's there might be some late pledges if you missed out. Ezra and Nehemiah. Couple games, the next couple games one. I was a big fan of Legacy of You, which was true solo. This one's meant to be 1 to 4. Not recommended. 3 people said not recommended. Solo 18 recommended, but no one's saying it's best. So perhaps more of a multiplayer game might be more like in the Architect's line. But we look at this, it looks I like the artwork in this one. The theme stands out really well. The dunes, desert setting. They've always got their nice meeples and their nice card design. I love their card design. But imagine it's not too much different to some of the other games in that series. It's me to play with the most victory points, so very Euro-ish. Most of the games are. Points are gained primarily by building the temple, rebuilding the city walls and gates, and by teaching the Torah to the returning exiles. So if that's something that you're interested in, well, means it's coming out soon. Somewhat heavy, so the game. Weirdwood Manor. I remember this coming up on crowdfunding a while ago. I was intrigued by Grey Ridge Games. Saying best at 2 players. It's a small sample size again, but bit of a range there. I think what happens in this game is you have to play more than 1 character. So not true solo, but there's no big traumas with that. It's a cooperative ball game that marries great adventure gameplay with some Euro-inspired underpinnings as you and your group of valiant companions battle to protect Weirdwood Manor and its enigmatic ruler. Again, another board where it's like rotating runs with this, as I talked about with SETI. You can rotate the board to get to different labyrinths, different rooms and areas as you try and take down a boss. There's little bugs that you can defeat to get little level ups and stuff. I think it's like a card action game, and you level these up and you gain like little bonuses. So it's kind of Euro inspired adventure game that's set in here, but I think the rooms can change. I'm not sure from game to game if the rooms are totally different. I'm assuming the boss does different things. So it's an interesting theme, interesting type game. Yeah. Looks kind of cool. You get to certain rooms to be able to do certain actions. Might be a bit of resource management by the looks of this. Moving on, Fateforge, Chronicles of Kaan. Some other popular, I think it was Jeremy Howard rated this as one of his top ones to look out for at Gen Con. I swear a couple others have mentioned it as well. It is best at 1 at the moment. Again, small sample size, but I remember this kind of crowdfunding, and I think at the time I just didn't have the money. Bit broke these days, not working as much, and just don't have the money. But anyway, I still enjoy seeing these games, and this one here is a mythical action adventure cooperative campaign. So another campaign game too, if you're interested in that, full of surprising twists with sprawling story and intense fights. Played in episodes of under an hour, so campaign, but like scenarios that you can just play and put away, I guess, looks things. So you've got minis for the characters and like tokens for the enemies. Kind of dungeon crawl-esque. You've got like dice activations, I think, that do certain things with your abilities, depending what your role. Enemies, some nice, lovely artwork. Plenty of artwork. Yeah, so that one's on the, if you're interested, like, your narrative sort of action, dungeon crawling type games, there's one to look out for. March of the Ants has been around for a while. The second edition's about to come out. I think this was up for demoing, as far as I can read about from some other people. I've never played this one, and I'm always interested in 4X games. I love Uprising. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 I need to get that out as well. And this looks pretty interesting. Expand your colony and involve your ants in the fast-playing 4X nature game. It's coming out, so it's a revised, upgraded version of the original. New artwork, revised mechanics. new type of cards, wooden and meeples, same quick play time. So reading that, probably not too much different from what it promises here, but depending how updated the mechanics are, I guess. Yeah, so check that one out. Much of the ants. Kinfire Delve is up there, their third version of this card game, 1 to 2 player card game. And I think it is like most of these sort of card games, like best with 2 different players. But I don't think it's too hard to manage the decks. For some reason, there's no images here. But it's a cooperative card game for 1 to 2 players. You'll fight your way through the well deck of challenge cards to reach Callous, the master of well. Essentially, you've got to beat these challenges. You draw cards out, and you've got to roll dice and plus play your cards to beat challenges with your like a skill test. And you're collecting these things as you go through the well. Quite a nice looking playing game. Nice little culture. It's got one here. Yeah, beautiful. Alrighty, let's keep going. We're getting there. Star Trek Captain's Chair. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about this because it's another David Turksey. There's a lot of Turksey lovers out there and Nigel Buckle. I think this is their. I think it's going to be more than a reskin of Imperium Classics that's applied to the Star Trek universe. It's 1 to 2 players recommended. It's medium-ish weight, medium to high. You go head-to-head with an opponent, each stepping into the shoes of an iconic captain. Now, if you haven't played Imperium, it's like a dueling game, but there's an AI that controls asymmetric factions, and it looks like it plays totally different each time. I wasn't a big fan of how the symbology worked with it, and I just couldn't get into the game. But other people really love it. It's highly rated amongst a lot of people. So, if you love your card games and you love Star Trek theme, you're a David Turksey fan, give this one a chance. Yeah. Alrighty. Next, I've got Metrorunner. This is by Thunderworks Games. So the people behind like Role Player and Cartographers. Best at 2, it says here. Community 1 to 4. It's recommended pretty well for solo. It's medium weight. And this one came on crowdfunding. I was, again, budget cuts. But this one's very interesting. It's a cyberpunkish type game. Let's have a look. And you've got a couple of things going on here. You've got this puzzle that it's like a neural network or something. A puzzle that you've got to solve to try and get to different directions. You got like a puzzle that you need to achieve to get victory points. You've also got a track up here that you move along. That you can move certain amounts, and you have to skip over people to get certain actions or certain resources. And you also got cards that can help you do certain things. I think it's a victory point achieving game, but a slightly different twist. And it is soloable. I think there's an Autima there. And if it's something like Role Player, especially the monsters and minions, and it'd be really good. It's a competitive game at heart. Worker movement and resource collection. And there's a puzzle mini game in the middle that you've got to try and solve. So if you're into the cyberpunkish, hijacking things and puzzles and things like this, would be right up your alley. All right, next one I've got is Tales of the Arthurian Knights. This is done by Andrew Parks, person that did Dungeon Alliance. This is WizKids. Dungeon Alliance was a really good puzzle game about 8 years ago now. I think 7, 8 years ago. And I think this is like an updated version, like a version 2 of the Arabian Nights. Tales of the Arabian Nights. You're a hero or heroine in a story of adventure and awe. You and your fellows will travel land at the behest of the renowned King Arthur. Through a series of quests, you will make impactful choices that will steer you at the course of your journey. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. So there's a map. You're in the map here. Showing it off at. So we got for images. Sure, there's more than that. It looks like a character sheet. Okay. Try and get an idea what's going on here. There's some quests. There's a grand quest. More quests. Solo cooperative. Definitely solo mode. Objectives. I'm not sure how it works, but it's all about getting quests and like rolling dice for skill checks on you. It's a paragraph, so it's sort of narrative-ish. Paragraph-driven experience and updated victory point system will track your success. Limits matrices and charts in favor of a streamlined method of dictating the paragraphs that will shape your adventure. After making your choices, a single roll plus skill bonuses will determine success or failure. Alrighty, so if that's something they're into, I mean, check that one out soon. I don't think that's out yet. Galactic Cruise, I think, was there for demoing. That was an old crowd, not too old, but an oldish crowdfunding game by Kids and Key Games. It did really well. It has a solo mode, and it's a huge, sprawling Euro game, so it's fairly heavy. I think it's all about, it's kind of like running an organization and sending people into space. There's a lot of symbology. One of those ones you kind of like void for a little bit in terms of like the symbology, how heavy that is. And that, for me personally, that makes it hard for me to get into. I've got to really read the rules carefully, but for some people, it's great. The art pops really well. There'll probably be plenty of tokens that you can play with, plenty of strategy into this. So here's solo testing underway. So, trust their solo design there, but I think that's going to be a big hit. I think that'd be more of a next year game. So keep that an eye on that, but I think that's going to be doing really well. I got a few left here. I got Salton Sea. I've seen this pop in my feed a fair bit. It's recommend, not recommend. It's got a bit of a mix there. So perhaps not best solo. Some people will like it, some people don't. It's in California, very close to the border with Mexico. Can be enjoyed alone or in groups of up to 4 players in sessions lasting about 120 minutes. Players must manage the geothermal lithium extraction companies. Extraction of this, material and subsequent processing will be the driving force of your companies. Place your engineers. Hey, I'm an engineer. Used to be. 3 different groups of actions: industrial actions, drill, stuff like that, commercial actions, and management actions. Okay. So it's about victory point chasing type game. So I imagine there might be an Automa with this. But I've seen a few people talk about this. I haven't heard of it at all until this video. All right, second last one I've got of the week is Reef Project. 1 to 4 players, best at 2, it says already here. No one's voted for solo yet. Very low votes. Yet I've seen a lot of people buy this, so it must be by board and dice, perhaps why. During the game, players take on the roles of researchers, service of the oceans. You will sail the seas, hire crew, explore the coral reef, clean the ocean sectors of any pollution, and try to accomplish as many missions as possible. What have we got here? Okay. So it's point scoring. Obviously, you ran that board. There's one that old traditional style of tracking points around the board. What else we got here? So choosing different islands or something to investigate. I don't know. I see. There's like some science pictures. Is that your own? So is it the player board looks things? Okay, so is it kind of building up your scientific chart or something? All right. Anyway, that's Reef Project. The last one I've got is Wandering Galaxy, a Crossroads game by Playtech Games. This has popped up a fair bit. This was recent crowdfunding. I think it might still be actually. And it's kind of pen and paper-ish. Kind of reminds you of like Explorer in terms of like you're writing, I think you're, or Twilight, what was it called? Twilight Inscription. You're writing on boards and rubbing out. But there's a bit more of a story to it. Standees, there's heaps of spots you can visit. It's kind of like got a, I think it's got an app to it. Let's have a read. Explore space like never before. The newest addition to the Crossroads universe. In the game, players and members of a ragtag starship crew traversing the edge of uncharted space in search of fame and riches. Taking on jobs for the average space traveler can come on board and fly across the. Doesn't really give away how it really works the game, but I believe it's pen and paper. Board. What do we call it? Pen erase paper. Board. Laminated board things. You cross things off and read certain passages. So it's coming out. I think it was there for demoing. But that might do for the week, guys. That's 20 that have come up in my feed that I thought were interesting to show off for those that never heard of it or want to discuss things about these. Feel free to comment about any of these games or any games that you think I missed that are worth mentioning for solo-wise. There's definitely others out there. I might have definitely missed some. There's some that I've probably seen, but just for some reason, maybe personal-wise, it wasn't for me. But for everyone else, everyone's different. Everyone's got their loves, their own little niche areas. I know I do. Please also let me know. Hopefully the microphone's heaps better this time. And if that's the case, then I can go ahead and do my 1,000 subscriber special where I'll do my top 20 games of all time, the 2024 edition. I haven't done one yet, so I'll probably do it in this format. I don't think I'll have time to pull out all the games and have a really good look at it, but I'll see how I go. But in the meantime, Solace, like, subscribe, comment as much as you wish. And I'll see you guys around. And remember, crush your gaming thirst. Play solid.